Hello and welcome to Quintessence Journey. I hope all of you are doing well. Just a reminder, I am using my phone, so there's going to be a lot of movement, and I'll be pausing the video on and off throughout the video, only because I'm too lazy to do any editing. And, well, today we will talk about energy. So, what is energy? Actually, before I even get into that, a little disclaimer for myself. Um, I'll be talking about energy mostly on an earthly level because I want to go a little slow on these videos and explain it thoroughly. And later on, I'll get into a more cosmic level. And well, yeah, what is energy? Energy, for me, through my perspective, is a pure essence, usually associated with an emotion or feeling. And a quick explanation of the difference between those two. They're slightly different. An emotion for me is the pure essence of a feeling. And off the top of my head, I could think of maybe five: happiness, sadness, anger, love, and fear. And what a feeling is, it's a subcategory for those emotions. Like you could be feeling excited and you're feeling happy, or you could be feeling excited and scared at the same time. It creates anxiety or nervousness, and well, yeah, that's the difference between an emotion and a feeling for me. And energy is used to create anything physical or metaphysical. I don't usually use labels because once you use labels, you put it in a box. And I don't really like putting anything in a box because I believe and know that there is a full spectrum for everything. So let me use a visual aid for you. Think of a Ferris wheel, those rotating machines in a carnival. Um, when you get on board, you put yourself in a box and you're waiting for everybody else to get on board. And those people are also in a box. And as the Ferris wheel starts to spin, you're having your experience. And we forget sometimes that there are others in the Ferris wheel and they're having their own experience as well. Their experience has nothing to do with yours. So, what I mean is, someone could be using a specific energy and use it for their own experience. And somebody else could be using that same energy for their experience. That's basically what I mean. So, energy exists in everything that is already in existence, whether it be in the past, present, future, or even where time doesn't really exist. Energy exists throughout the universe. On an earthly level, animals, plants, household objects, and even ourselves are made of energy. And we not only have energy, but we also um, transfer and receive energy. Now, when you transfer energy, depending on how you're feeling, if you're feeling sad um, or angry, you can unknowingly affect people around you. Even if you don't say anything at all to them, you can affect them because you're emitting this low vibrational energy. And same thing if you're happy or excited, energy is kind of infectious because you're transferring it to your surroundings. And empaths probably know what I'm talking about. If you don't know, an empath is a person who is able to feel energy. When it comes to us, to human beings, an empath is able to um, literally feel other people's feelings and emotions. And like, for example, if somebody is having a bad day, an empath will be able to feel that. They won't be able to feel their experience, but they can feel the feelings before, during, and after what the other person has experienced. Like, I'm a natural empath, and for the longest time, I couldn't control it. I would always feel everything around me, and it was kind of stressful. But I did learn to filter out emotions, other people's feelings. And like I said, it took me a while to figure it out. And now now that I filter out emotions, I'm able to feel what other people feel. But at the same time, I won't let their emotions take over mine, because that's what used to happen to me. And in some cases, now that I think about it, it would put me in a bad situation when their emotions took over mine. And energy itself is not good or bad. Um, it all depends on your intentions. Like, you could use energy to comfort someone, or on the flip side, you could use it um, to create fear in someone, for someone. The media uses this a lot, this fear mongering. They use it through news, TV shows, movies. And it's not just fear mongering, it's all types of energy that they use in order to. I was trying to be careful of my words, the way I word things, but I couldn't think of anything else. So, control. They use it to control the population. And the media, the way that they do it, like I said, it has different outlets: movies, TV shows, the news, reality shows. Um, in a way, it's kind of a brainwash technique that they do. The more you watch it, the more into whatever you're watching, uh, the more energy you invest in that, and what you put forth comes back. So it's like you're kind of sitting in front of a mirror, and you're projecting that anxiety while you're hearing something, and it comes back to you, and now you're feeling anxious. Um, and the more you do it, the more often you feel anxious. And this is just a small example. It's not completely accurate. And media is not the only ones that use uh, energy. Um, Schools do it. What else? Your workplace does it. And religion does it too. Whether you're conscious about it or not, religion does use a lot of fear mongering and manipulate energy, which is the main focus. And I'm not talking down on religion. I'm just saying, whether you're conscious or not, they use energy. And one way that energy is used in religion is through prayer. The word prayer comes from the Latin word, if I'm not mistaken, precari, which means to ask, beg, or request. So when you're praying, you're kind of emitting this energy upward. And I'm telling you upward because I've actually seen this energy. I'm able to see energies. And usually it's the color white or a gold energy that is emitted upwards. And when you're praying, whatever situation you're in, whether you're praying to heal yourself or others, or if you're praying to help with an indecision that you have, you're calling upon an energy. And this happens a lot in religion. You pray to a god that you're told that is the primary source of the universe. But usually what happens is, in order to get to that god, you go through different filters. And depending on the person, it only goes up so far that that energy that you try to communicate with is so far up that you're unable to reach it. I'm going to try to clarify here in a second because it might not be coming off the right way, but hold on. So, okay, a better way to explain that is, in this earthly plane, in this matrix, you can only go up so far when you don't know how to pass those filters. So when you're told that there is a God, in your mind, you kind of create one. And this is done not just through yourself, but it's done through collective consciousness. So collective consciousness creates a God to their perspective through their mind. And this is the God that everybody tries to access, even though that there are more filters above that God. And same thing for other religions. Religions that have multiple gods, they do the same thing. They create multiple gods, and they only get so far up, and they communicate with this fabricated God instead of communicating straight to the root of the universe. They communicate with these fabricated gods. And when that happens, you reach an energy that you believe is a god, but in a way it's a lesser god, a fabricated god. And its energy can only go so far. And again, not talking down on religion, because we all live in this earth realm, in this matrix. And if you use the tools that are available in the matrix, that's totally cool. I just like going beyond that. That's my preference, is going beyond the matrix. And another way that energy is used in churches, for instance, is the preacher. The preacher or priest usually has their own interpretations of the Bible. So when they're up there preaching their thoughts and their beliefs, they're projecting that energy onto the audience or the people in the church. And that's another way that um, energy is used. They kind of blanket the people at the church with that energy, and it kind of rewires them a little bit. And some people totally accept this. That's all right. What I'm trying to say is that when somebody else projects on to a group of people, that group of people have their own collective um, consciousness. And with that collective consciousness, you promote your energy together, and uh, you create this. I want to describe it as a blanket because that's the only way that I've seen it. It's like a blanket around them in a way. Not explaining it correctly, so might as well just ignore that part. And I mentioned on the last video that there are a lot of religions, so it's only fair that I address other religions as well. Other religions, such as Wicca, Santeria, paganism, they um, they always use energy consciously. Compared to if you go to a church, you're unconsciously using energy. But these type of religions are usually looked at as witchcraft um, to other religions, and that's because they consciously work with energy. Some people can't think; they don't have an open mind to where they could accept that there are people that work with energy. And even in these religions, there are um, can't think of the word. I couldn't think of the word, so I'm just gonna say overstandings. And yeah, I used the word overstanding instead of understanding because to me it makes more sense. If you say understand, it's like you're standing under the information. When you say overstand, to me, it's like you're standing over the information and you have a clear view. But anyway, other religions, these religions, they have misunderstandings as well, even though they're consciously working with energy. One of those misunderstandings, especially if you're new to the practice, is that you can cast a protective circle and you're all right. That's not true. I used to practice Wicca when I was younger, and I was a little bit naive. First of all, I was too lazy to cast a protective circle. Um, to my knowledge, a protective circle is either a physical circle made out of crystals, plants, or it could even be an etheric circle, etheric meaning energy. And well, like I said, I was too lazy. And I started messing with some things. And well, it turned out that the deities that I was trying to reach weren't the deities that I thought they were. They masked themselves in a camouflage to make me think that that's who they were. So I stopped practicing Wicca because it felt unsafe for me. And well, um, if you're a master at your practice, you can tell the difference. You know how to tell the difference. But usually, the main targets are new practitioners. They think that just because they cast a circle means that they won't be able to be in harm's way. Like I said, there are deities that mask themselves and they can enter your circle by pretending to be who you're trying to reach, to conjure. And well, these practitioners, in their protective circle, they cast spells. You might have other terms for it, but I'm just generalizing with the word spells. And this is equivalent to a prayer. From my perspective, it's equivalent to a prayer. It's just that you're consciously working with energy. And what these deities do, the ones that sneak up on you, pretending to be something else, they harvest your energy. That's normally their main goal, is to harvest energy, to keep themselves alive, to keep themselves existing, I should say. Um, and when you do such practices, you have to be knowledgeable. First of all, you have to be knowledgeable, and you have to be cautious, because there might be something out there that you don't know you're working with, um, pretending to be your the goal that you were trying to work with. And the way I deal with that is I don't deal with lesser deities like I used to when I was younger. I don't use lesser energies that I have no idea where they came from. Um, I just go straight to the primordial energy. That's what I use for everything. And I could teach you guys how to do that in later videos. And well, when you're doing your practices, you're intentionally um, manifesting is a word. But there are times when you do it unintentionally. So, intentionally, examples for intentional use of energy would be a prayer or a spell. You're intentionally using energy to manifest something, a result in your life. While unintentional uses um, could be that in certain cases, or in a lot of cases, I don't know if this has happened to you or not. You could be so mad at somebody, and you could scream at them, yell at them, and say something like, "I hope you get diarrhea." Now, the reason that I use this example is because me growing up, I would see my parents argue. And when it was during dinner, when my mom got really mad, she would point at my dad and say, "I hope you get diarrhea." And every time she said this, my dad would eventually get diarrhea. The reason this happens is because you build up so much energy, and anger is such a strong energy on its own. So when it builds up, it needs to go somewhere. It needs to redirect itself. And our words and our actions, they carry energy. So when you tell somebody, "I hope you get diarrhea," and you're so angry, that energy just seeps out through your words and your actions. And that's an unintentional form of using energy. Like I said, words carry energy, but you don't have to say anything for this energy to seep out. Um, it could just, you could be thinking something and you're just so furious. And I'm using anger as an example because it's a very strong energy when you're feeling anger, to the point where, I don't know for you guys, but for me, I feel like a magnetic field around me. And when I'm so angry, I have to be careful because it might do some damage around me. And even within myself. Because when you get so angry and you're not doing anything to release that anger, it can end up imploding inside you, and it can damage you, whether it's for a short period of time or for longer periods. And an example of this is, um, I know someone, it's actually my dad, and I love him so much, but he carries a lot of anger within himself. And I don't blame him for it. He dealt with a lot when he was younger and later on in his adulthood as well. But my mom, she practices witchcraft. I call it witchcraft because it's not her religion, that's just her practice. And for a long time, she was doing things to us. Um, in my case, I found out that she was trying to steal my empath ability. Her whole family was. And you can't really steal something that doesn't belong to you. Energetically speaking, you, unless that person gives it to you willingly, you can't take it away. And anyway, they were practicing witchcraft on us, and for the longest time, my dad would go to the hospital frequently, and the doctors could not diagnose him. He had stroke symptoms, but they couldn't diagnose him. My dad, for the past 12 years, has had more than 20 TIAs. Those are mini strokes. The last stroke that he had was last year. And that one actually was a big one. It's the only big one that he's ever had. And he was lucky that, for the most part, things came out okay. But my point is that my dad, being an angry person, he carries that anger. When he gets so angry, he implodes. And this is when the TIAs start to show up. And yeah, he in his mind, he's still cursed. I've tried to talk him through it. I work with energy. I've tried to help him. But a universal law, which I mentioned before, I think, um, is free will, aka allowance. If you allow something to happen to you, it will manifest. If somebody tells you you're cursed and you believe them, and you start getting scared, you're allowing that energy to come in. When you're scared, your frequency lowers itself to the point where anything could come get you. So he allows these energies to come and bother him. I did mention that they were doing witchcraft on me too. For the longest time, I would get sick. I would get physically sick. If you saw me, you would think that I was on my deathbed. Many people saw me and they were scared. And back then, I knew I was cursed. Cursed. Um, and I let it happen. But it came to a point where I said no more. Um, I will not allow you to hurt me, your own son. So whatever you said my way goes back to you. You know, I'm rubber, you're glue. And from that day on, nothing has been able to do damage to me. Um, and I learned that after I did that, well, her family started getting sick, like real bad sick. And I won't go into details with all that, but my point is what you send forth comes back to you. That's another universal law. Or you attract what you put out, in other words. And if you wish ill to a person, it will come back to you eventually, but it will come back. And same thing. If you wish somebody love or good fortune, same thing will come back to you. Not always as fast as we would like, but it does come back to you. But yeah, a spell, it's easy to break. Like I said earlier, if you allow it, it will happen to you. It will affect you. If you don't allow it, it can't touch you. And the last thing I want to talk about is energy. See it as frequencies. You have high frequencies and low frequencies. And you can think about those frequencies in an earthly term as electromagnetic waves. Like when it comes to the radio, the sound that we produce, like I said, carries energy. And when it comes to the radio, sound is converted into electromagnetic waves, and then it's transmitted. So you could hear it wherever you are. Same thing with television. Like television or cinematic media, it's a little different because you're not only hearing the energy. Like the difference for me when I hear a song or somebody speak, I feel the feeling that they're projecting. But when I see it, it's a lot more intense. It's so intense. Um, and I think that it's because you, and I'm only talking about like recording, not physically seeing a person. When it comes to a recording, it feels like you entrapped the motion of that energy. As if you compare it to a picture, you know, back in the day, you had Polaroid pictures. You take a picture, you wave it in the air, wait for the image to clear up, and then you saw the picture that you took. If it was of a party, for example, if you look back at it now, you might feel a familiar feeling of what you were feeling that day. But if you look, let's say you recorded your party and you're rewatching that video, you might relive those feelings thoroughly as you watch the video. And again, that's because video captures the motion of the energy. You know, it's flexible, it moves. And a picture is like a stamp. It's holding the energy still. And when you hear energy, um, it's again a familiar feeling. And to me, it's like it goes in one ear and out the other. So it's a brief feeling. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. When you're listening to something, it's just a brief feeling out through one ear, out the other. And I think I paused it on accident. I think I'm starting to not make sense because I'm kind of feeling tired, to be honest. And we'll talk more about energy in a later video, in a more cosmic level, I guess. Like, I'll talk to you guys about the earthly level, about the matrix and all that. But I'll also talk to you about energy in a cosmic level as well, and how it all works. I'm just slowly building up to it. Next video will probably be consciousness. What is consciousness? I don't know. Actually, just to give you a slight preview, consciousness is basically awareness. And consciousness is a pure energy of its own. And all energy can be conscious, but it isn't always. And that might have confused you. I'm sure it has. But I'll explain more about it on the next video. So if you like what you hear, just click the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell notification. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. I'm just turning around because the cats come in. All right, bye. Take care.